I think there's a real, and I'll call it as it is, I'm afraid, in my generation of politicians, there's a complete cowardice on these issues.
Wow.
Cowardice. And it's a sort of kind of thing about, the focus groups don't raise it, therefore never touch it. You don't need to. It only becomes an issue about tax, and you don't want to get in an issue. And there's this sort of modern politics has just has developed a framing of the way it deals with things that just has this outside of it.
Wow.
And it is a wow thing because it is that bad. I mean, I lived it. I mean, bear in mind, I lived it trying to raise social care in Whitehall.
Yeah,
and it made me an outsider for even trying to do something.
So what was your plan that you were trying to raise, just for those that don't know? In fact, for me, because I don't think I fully know, were you trying to integrate? So tell me
I
exactly
was indeed. What you did. I mean, I was, in very simple terms, I was making the argument for social care to be provided on NHS terms.
What does that mean exactly?
So free at the point of use. Yeah.
Wow,
and
that would be great.
A national care service, I called it at the time. But what I was kind of make the argument for was whether you have it as a national care service alongside a national health service, or whether you have a national health and care service. What I was saying was you have a continuum of care on NHS terms that goes from home to hospital and back again, and is about the whole person. So you look at people's physical, mental and social needs as one, and not, as the current system tries to do, deal with physical needs in one place and mental in another, and then social in a completely different system altogether. That's what I was saying, and I made the argument that rather than be exposed to unlimited care costs, well, I say unlimited, can be pretty much unlimited down to that threshold of £23,000, whatever it is. I was saying that nobody should pay any care charges while they're alive, but what we should do in return is have a modest contribution from what they leave behind. That is a percentage contribution linked to what they have.
Okay.
And therefore you wouldn't get the randomness of the system where some people like my dad or someone else who's unlucky enough to get quite severe dementia and Alzheimer's, well, they get wiped out completely, don't they, by the current system.
Savings wise, you mean? And financially.
And then somebody who just doesn't have that isn't wiped out. And I was saying, that social care in England is as unfair as US healthcare because it just takes people out randomly, doesn't it, linked to how unfortunate they are. And I was saying that's completely counter to the NHS principle.
Yeah.
And until we have a system in this country that supports people with dementia as well as it supports and treats people with cancer, then we haven't got a fair system in the 21st century. But when I put that forward, the idea of a care levy from what people leave behind, don't put people through any of the indignity of selling homes and this and that and power of attorney, or just leave all that. Let people not have to deal with that stuff while they're caring, because it's hard enough doing the caring, never mind all of that.
It is.
And the paying and the dispiriting thing of just paying your parents' savings out for leave all of that, and then a modest contribution is taken from everybody. And anyway, that quickly became, now Gordon wants a death tax from you at the 2010 election, and it was a horrendously toxic political debate, and it made me a kind of outsider in my own side, as though I'd opened up an Achilles heel at the election. And this is the sadness for me, and does today's generation of politicians have the wherewithal to advance big solutions to the things that are obviously wrong in our society? And I hope I can be proved wrong at some point, but I'm still worrying that today's political culture does not support that type of thinking.
And I think that's what it needs. We talked about a carer feeling like there's all these different services, they're not joined up. Well, that would help with that problem that you have. I myself have been in that situation that you're talking about, where I ended up researching and finding a care company that actually will come for almost the full hour, and their staff seem to have that time and the patience and what you were talking about that your mum needed. But in order to pay for that, we have to pay for it because mum made the mistake of saving for her old age, I suppose, is which that generation did. And that's okay. it should go on her care. She made provision, but the cost of it is so extortionate that I don't know how sustainable that will be. And then what happens when she can't have it anymore? So there's all that worry.
You get whittled down to that threshold, don't you? And then you get state.
Then you go back onto the
support.
15 minutes, and then eventually, that's just going to end up with her.
It doesn't work in any way,
care.
shape, or form, does it? But even
It doesn't.
from that more economic point of view, about it almost, you could say, will increasingly create the wrong incentive. Like people say, well, I won't bother saving for my retirement because I might lose it all. I don't get rewarded for having done that.
Yeah.
So it's just not a sustainable situation, is it? And there's no solution for the NHS without a solution for social care.